talk to me about the date of this video, July 29th, and talk to me about what you saw. What did you see in terms of the identity of the person driving through that open window?
So it's very clearly that Tesla, one, because the Tesla has that tape on the rear spoiler for whatever reason. I don't know why it's there. And also, it was just like it is in that picture. It was that dirty, except you could tell that they had run the windshield wiper like once to clear the dirt away so they could see. And it comes very close to the camera, although there is some motion blur, but you can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive. And there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
They now know who was driving David's Tesla right before Celeste's body was discovered inside of the trunk. The owner of the Hollywood home that David was renting has hired a private investigator. That private investigator has now uncovered surveillance footage.
For defense attorney. Totally. And so I just think when we ultimately are told, at least what prosecutors believe the theory is on how the body ended up in the car, we're going to say, oh my God, it's going to be a wild story.
Everyone is starting to be left speechless after it's being reported that David is not a suspect for the passing of Celeste Rivas.
Is David really out here acting like he just hit the jackpot because he got cleared from Celeste Rivas' case? This might be the wildest twist we've seen yet. For months, the internet painted him as the villain. But now, it looks like the script just flipped hard. Police are suddenly chasing new suspects, turning their attention completely away from David. And wait till you hear this. There's actual footage showing someone else driving David's Tesla, with Celeste already inside. That one clip just threw the whole story into chaos. People can't stop asking, did David just dodge the biggest scandal in the entire music scene? Or is this just the quiet before the storm hits again?
David is officially not a murder suspect, police have confirmed. I didn't want to touch base on this topic until the man was in jail. And everything we've seen on social media for the past month seems like this man is innocent, besides the fact that he's allegedly dating a 13-year-old girl.
I've seen the car driven to that spot, and with the dates, with the date that it was, and they left town right after that. I'm certain that that's the last time the car was driven. It was put there with her, in the front trunk.
And there's one weird detail about there's a lot of weird details, and I'm going to get to what you saw through the driver's side window in a second, but there was an air freshener that was found in the car at this point that we see on our screen, where it was abandoned. Was that air freshener also hanging from the rearview mirror when it drove off from David's house?
It wasn't, but the window was half to 3/4 of the way down, which is odd because it was a very short drive. And also at that on that day, this is the very end of July 29th, it was like 78 degrees at that time in the morning, or 77 degrees. And if it was on the street where the house is, so it's shaded by the house. So,
because let's be real, the vibe around this case has been strange from the start. Cops went silent. No updates, no press releases, nothing. That silence had fans thinking the whole thing was being covered up. Remember, this investigation's been dragging for months. It all started when a 15-year-old girl missing for over a year was found decomposing in the trunk of her 20-year-old boyfriend's Tesla. Everyone thought it was a closed case. David was done for. But then, boom, new evidence dropped. And suddenly, everything we thought we knew went up in smoke. Here's where it gets even crazier. The footage that flipped the story, it wasn't even found by police. It came from a private investigator, Steve Fisher, a guy who's been doing the cops' job better than they have. He dug up surveillance video showing the last time David's Tesla was driven. And what he found blew the lid off the David did it story completely. In the clip, the car windows rolled 3/4 down. And guess what? The driver ain't David.
The time the Tesla was left there, he literally immediately started the tour. There was a tour bus that was leased, and I'll tell you that Tesla was moved and literally a bus departed for tour. Another thing that could be key in this is that there's only one key to that house, and who had that and who had access to it and who was in it, because we also have evidence that while David was on tour at the time between the Tesla being found and the search warrant being served, David was on tour, but somebody was in that house. And there was actually a report made, not with police, but that homeowner association has a robust private security company, and we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so who had that key is probably the same person that, had.
Police quietly confirmed that Celeste's body was already inside the car at that time. So now the million-dollar question, who was behind the wheel? Did David lend the car out? Did someone take it without him knowing? Or was this a setup that he never saw coming? And get this! Fisher spotted something weird hanging in the Tesla's mirror. A cheap green Christmas tree air freshener. Totally out of place in a luxury car like that. Fans are now dissecting every frame of that footage, wondering if that one tiny detail could be the clue that cracks the whole case wide open. This story just keeps getting darker and stranger by the minute. Fisher said straight up, it didn't look like David was the one who put that air freshener there. It looked more like someone trying to cover up a smell they knew would draw attention. That tiny, cheap air freshener flipped the entire case upside down. Because if David didn't put it there, that means someone else already knew Celeste's body was inside that Tesla. And the deeper this gets, the shakier the whole case against David becomes. Now here's where things start to feel seriously sketchy. Fisher didn't just keep the footage, he turned it over to the police. But guess what? They refused to release it publicly. And get this, he revealed that the mystery driver was wearing something very distinctive. He wouldn't say what exactly, but he made it clear it wasn't David behind that wheel.
Did you see in terms of the identity of the person driving through that open window?
So it's very clearly that Tesla one, because the Tesla has that tape on the rear spoiler for whatever reason. I don't know why it's there. And also it was just like it is in that picture. It was that dirty, except you could tell that they had run the windshield wiper like once to clear the dirt away so they could see. And it comes very close to the camera, although there is some motion blur, but you can see the person and you can see what they're wearing something pretty distinctive. And there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
And I know that the viewers right now are screaming at the TV set saying, Ashley, ask him who it was.
I honestly wish I could tell you. I don't want to, I don't want to interfere with LAPD on that. And I think that's coming because we know a crime was committed 100.
So why the secrecy? If the cops already know who drove that car, why haven't they dropped a sketch or even a single still image? Who are they protecting and why? And it doesn't stop there. Police still haven't determined how Celeste actually ended. No cause of end, no manner of end, nothing. Without that, they have no solid case against anyone. It's like they're hoping this whole thing just magically sorts itself out. But one thing's clear. If that's all they've got, sooner or later, they'll have to face the truth and clear David's name publicly. But right when you think this story can't get any darker, it does. Because word is, when police searched the house David was renting at the time Celeste's body was dumped, what they found inside sent shockwaves through the entire department. According to an insider, it was something nobody saw coming, and it might just expose what really happened that night. When police raided that house David was renting, what they found looked straight out of a true crime movie. We're talking heavy, high-end equipment, plastic wrap, duct tape, industrial gloves, and a set of knives so expensive they look custom-made. The whole scene screamed cover-up. But here's the twist that shocked everyone. They didn't take any of it. They left the entire setup sitting there like it was no big deal. Now you'd think with all that gear, police would have been able to pull a ton of DNA or fingerprints, right? But according to leaks, none of it matched David. Not one print, not a single trace.
But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind. There are some other items that were found at the house that weren't taken during the search warrant. And, search warrants are limited, right? That they can't just go take everything. It's what the judge, and we don't know how broad that search warrant was because we haven't seen it, and that's what we'd like to see. But there were some things that were not taken into custody of LAPD that we think are significant, and including digital media and some other things that really help nail down timeline and things like that.
Which means whoever brought that stuff in wasn't him. Someone else staged that scene. And then there's the Tesla, the biggest piece of evidence in this whole nightmare. Yet, even with all their tests, there's still nothing directly connecting David to any violent act inside the car. And here's where it gets even more twisted. Investigators noticed tire tracks showing the car had been driven across desert terrain before being found, its wheels caked in thick dust. That means someone took it somewhere remote, way off grid, before ditching it for good. One insider dropped a chilling detail. Investigators suspect Celeste might have still been alive in that car when it was driven out there. They believe she could have overdosed, and whoever was with her panicked. Instead of calling for help, they made the worst decision possible. They hid her body. That changes everything. Because if that's true, this goes from a life-ending case to a tragic overdose cover-up. Still heartbreaking, but nowhere near what David was accused of. That one theory flipped the entire story. The moment whispers spread that David might not have been the main suspect, the whole vibe shifted. Police suddenly went silent. No updates, no statements, no pressers, just total blackout. That silence said everything. It felt like they were quietly walking back their own accusations, realizing they might have jumped too fast. Meanwhile, David's been keeping his head down and moving like a man trying to rebuild. On Instagram, he posted that he's taking media training, a smart move to stop himself from saying anything that could be twisted against him. He's learned the hard way that silence can be power when the world's waiting for you to slip. And then came the biggest sign that David's not playing around. He hired Blair Burke, a top-tier defense lawyer who's represented Harvey Weinstein, Ozzy Osbourne, and Kanye West. That's not a casual choice. That's a full declaration of war. And now even the police are backpedaling, going from calling David their prime suspect to quietly asking themselves, was he set up from the start? It sounds unbelievable, but this is where things turn downright eerie. TMZ just dropped never-before-seen body cam footage from a 911 prank call made years ago at David's family home.
Yeah, but somebody called and said there was something. There was a person that they called on themselves. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's somebody dead.
Someone's dead. Yeah.
That's why we had to take caution. You know what I mean? Wasn't trying to scare y'all. This house is way off the roadway.
And it's chilling to watch. Someone had called in claiming there'd been a shooting, saying a person was dead inside the house. But when officers rushed over, they found nothing. No gun, no victim, no crime scene. Just a terrified family who had no idea what was happening. In the footage, you can actually hear David's parents panicking, asking, "Why are you here? What's going on?" They sounded confused, scared, and totally blindsided. Ever since that clip resurfaced, people online have been putting two and two together, and the theory forming is dark. Was that prank call just a random act or the start of something way more sinister? Because now looking back, the pattern feels too twisted to ignore. A fake call years ago, and now a real body turning up connected to David's name? Either this is the wildest coincidence of all time, or someone's been pulling the strings from the very beginning. And just when you think David's finally in the clear, think again. The police may have cleared him from the life-ending accusation, but they're not ready to let him go that easy. Sources say investigators are still trying to link him to other crimes connected to the case, trying to dig up anything that sticks. Even now, it's not officially confirmed whether David and Celeste were ever truly dating. Sure, they had matching tattoos and a few photos floating around, but that doesn't prove a relationship. It could have all been social media clout or just friendship gone wrong. But here's what's really wild. Inside sources say the LAPD is embarrassed. Word is they know they botched this investigation so badly, they might try to arrest David again just to save face. Imagine that, trying to clean up their own mistakes by blaming the same man they already cleared. And the only thing everyone agrees on right now, police and public alike, is that a crime did happen. But it wasn't life-ending, and it wasn't what social media first thought. The confirmed charge? Desecration of a corpse. Because yes, Celeste's body was found dismembered in David's Tesla, but that doesn't mean he did it or even knew it was there. The scene screams setup, but by who? That's the question dividing the internet in half right now. One side celebrating like David just survived the biggest setup in music history. They're saying he's a victim of a media witch hunt and that someone else used his name as cover. But the other half, they're not buying it. They believe this new suspect is nothing but a distraction. Because if David's truly cleared, why hasn't the footage been shown? Why is the driver still nameless? And why does it feel like the same system that was supposed to protect Celeste might actually be protecting someone else? This whole thing just keeps getting murkier, and it's starting to look like the truth might be buried deeper than anyone wants to admit. Now that footage and insider info have leaked, the online detectives are in full swing, and some of their discoveries are straight up wild. One user claimed they cross-referenced the location data from David's Tesla logs with security cameras near a private airstrip, saying a different person was caught getting out of the car the night Celeste went missing. That image hasn't been confirmed, but if true, it changes everything. And then there's the other mystery, how Celeste's phone suddenly went dark hours before she vanished. Her last ping was nowhere near David's house. It was traced to a bus stop in Lancaster, miles away. That detail alone has people questioning the entire timeline police released. How could she have ended up in his Tesla if she wasn't even near him that night? Unless someone moved her after the fact.
It was moved to that position. It was already like that. So that car had not been used in a very long time. It was super dirty, caked on dirt. I'll tell you, this was in late July. So it's bizarre because we also got media that the car was used a lot. David even spoke about it in Instagram videos. He took it to a detail shop and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the very beginning of the year, that car, something happens, and that car's doesn't show up anymore. It's not used. It seems to disappear. And then that red Tesla learned, which we didn't know until the search warrant was served, that there's a red Tesla in the garage, which I can tell you was released on February 1st. I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
Okay, now that's significant because we were wondering when, she was last seen alive. There was that surveillance footage of her seemingly running away from her neighborhood.
And that was September of 24, I believe. So we didn't have anything. We were like, where was this girl in 2025? But we do have a photo of her on July 2nd, early in the morning, July 2nd, 2025. I tend to believe it happened a while ago, a long time ago. And I think January, February, things change. I mean, you can see it in the photos and everything. And
Meanwhile, David's name keeps popping up in strange ways. Insiders claim that right before Celeste disappeared, he'd been targeted online by fake accounts spreading rumors about him. Some believe those same people could have been setting him up from the start, baiting him into situations that would make him look guilty later. Screenshots of fake DMs, edited photos, and false leaks started floating around weeks before the case blew up. None of it was verified, but it definitely planted the seed of guilt early on. And just when people thought it couldn't get worse, reports surfaced that the private investigator Steve Fisher had received threats. Someone allegedly tried to break into his office after he announced he'd found more footage related to the Tesla's movements. His team said files were tampered with and one hard drive was stolen. That makes it look like someone out there doesn't want the truth to come out. Now speculation's running wild that this case may go deeper than anyone expected, possibly involving people with real power and influence. Because if Celeste's disappearance was just a tragic mistake, why are people being silenced? Why is evidence going missing? And how is every major clue pointing away from David, but the system still can't let his name go? This story's no longer just a tragedy. It's starting to look like a full-blown conspiracy. So yeah, David might technically be free right now, but let's be real. The air around this whole case still feels heavy. There are way too many lies, too many blurred timelines, and way too many people who suddenly went quiet when the truth started closing in. Everyone's talking, but nobody's actually saying anything. Until that unreleased footage finally drops, nobody's truly cleared. Not David, not the cops, not anyone connected to Celeste's disappearance. And that's what keeps the internet on fire. Some folks are convinced David's been framed from the jump, used as a distraction while the real suspect walks free. Others swear he knows something he's not saying, maybe out of fear or maybe because he's protecting someone. Every day, new theories hit the timeline. Secret relationships, hidden money, mysterious calls that disappeared from the phone records. It's like this case is one big puzzle that keeps rearranging itself. Meanwhile, police keep playing this weird waiting game, acting like if they stay silent long enough, people will move on. But the internet doesn't forget, especially when a young girl's life was lost and justice still feels miles away. What really happened that night in David's Tesla? Who drove that car through the desert? And how many people knew about it before the world found out? Now fans are demanding one thing: transparency. If the LAPD really has footage proving David wasn't the driver, then release it. Let the world see the truth instead of hiding behind rumors and leaks. Because until they do, everyone's a suspect in the court of public opinion, and every no comment just makes it all sound worse. So yeah, David might be walking free, but his name's still tied to one of the most haunting mysteries in modern music history. The story's not over. It's just waiting for the next big reveal. But I want to know what you think. Was David set up, or is there still more we don't know? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest celebrity drama. I'll see you in the next one. And make sure to check out the next video on your screen because trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.